You guys can see me. Yep. All right, good. Welcome, guys, to the Meet Damian channel. I am Damian, and today's live stream, we'll be talking about the altcoins. We usually start by looking at Bitcoin first. Bitcoin is looking pretty solid right now, climbing up as we speak. Up about $2,300 today, up 1.98% today at 118,794. Did we get up to 119,000? We actually did get up to 119,000 earlier this morning. So, so far so good with Bitcoin, and that should be good for the altcoins as well. The altcoins will try to catch up with Bitcoin, but Earlier this weekend, we saw that altcoins are actually doing pretty well, and Bitcoin wasn't really doing much, hanging out near like $116,000. Let's see, here on Saturday, we saw Bitcoin get as low as like 116,343. Let me just do a quick sound check here. 116. All right, I can hear myself. All right, cool. But yeah, we got some questions here about Bitcoin. We're going to get into altcoins. We're also going to talk about some live trades, some trades that I'm in right now on Mexi Exchange. And then, I'll just be looking at the charts here with you guys and looking at the altcoins here with you, trying to figure out where these prices might go next here. But let's talk about Bitcoin first, even though I titled the live stream Altcoins. Altcoin season is here. I have someone here asking me about, like, where do I see the big price of Bitcoin going? And I actually had a buddy of mine, just texting me. He's thinking about taking equity out of his house to buy some Bitcoin. And I don't see that being a problem as long as you're able to still pay your bills, But he's thinking about buying like maybe 1 or 2 Bitcoins here at the price of $118,000. And I said, that's okay, but if Bitcoin drops down like 50% on you, if we go down like $50,000-$60,000, you need to like not panic, and you got to be able to stick it through, because this is a long-term investment. He wants to actually buy Bitcoin and treat it like a retirement plan for him, and he wants to know, could he retire off of 1 Bitcoin? And I think some people can do that. Depends on how much of a retirement you want, but that also depends on how high we think the price of Bitcoin is going to go, right? And I have G Token in the chat here asking me, where do I see Bitcoin going? So let's talk about this for a second here. All right, so Bitcoin, right, has a $2 trillion market cap. All right, look at this. This is data coming from CoinGecko. All right, if you don't know already, as of today, the market cap of Bitcoin is at $2.36 trillion. Okay, and there's a narrative going around saying that Bitcoin could be digital gold. It could be just like gold. It could replace gold. No one's going to be using gold as a store of value like they would be with Bitcoin in the digital age. Kids these days, they know how to use computers, and they feel more comfortable clicking buttons on a computer than they do actually going out and buying physical gold. Like, how many of you guys actually bought physical gold in your lifetime? I know I have bought gold coins in bars, but not too many of my friends and family have done that themselves, okay? And they don't even know where to get started. But most people know how to get started with Bitcoin and going on a computer and getting on a cryptocurrency exchange and buying Bitcoin. So let me just circle back and try to tell you guys what I'm really trying to explain here. The price of Bitcoin is at $118,000, and the total market cap of Bitcoin is at $2.36 trillion. There's $2 trillion in Bitcoin. Okay, how much money is there in gold? Because that's what Bitcoin might replace, right? There's actually, the market cap of gold is at $23.2 trillion right now. There's $23 trillion of gold all around the world. Okay, if Bitcoin catches up to the price, catches up to the market cap of gold, okay, then we're gonna be seeing like Bitcoin go up 10x from where it is right now. And Bitcoin's at $118,000, 10x from here. That's going to be a $1 million Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, next year or the year after that, but it could happen in like 5 to 10 years from now. We could see a $1 million Bitcoin. And if you're in it for the long term and you're trying to use Bitcoin as a retirement, then I think, you buying, if you can afford it, if you buy Bitcoin at $118,000 and buy an entire Bitcoin at $118,000, you're going to have an entire Bitcoin 5 to 10 years from now that might be worth $1 million. And that might be enough for some people to retire. Maybe some people need 2 Bitcoins, maybe some people need $2 million. Okay. But in the meantime, you could just take your Bitcoin. If you ever need cash, you don't have to sell your Bitcoin. You could just take loans out against your Bitcoin and use your Bitcoin as collateral if you ever need cash in the future, and you never have to sell your Bitcoin. And then you can take that Bitcoin and just give it to your kids one day, or your grandkids, and you never have to sell that Bitcoin if you actually have an entire Bitcoin. Me myself, I actually bought an entire Bitcoin back in 2017 when Bitcoin was at $3,000. I bought 1.25 Bitcoins. I had like $5,000 I threw into Bitcoin, and I had an entire Bitcoin myself. I also bought some Ethereum when it was at like $200 to $300. Okay. And I sold Ethereum when it was at $3,800 in 2021. So I done well for myself, and I think you guys can do well for yourselves as well if you get involved in crypto and you get involved in the right ones. Okay. Not all crypto is going to do well. Okay, but the ones that have been doing well, we know, are Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're going to be talking about Ethereum as well. Okay, because Ethereum had a good weekend here. But yeah, as far as like where I see the price of Bitcoin going right now, over the next week or two, I do want to see Bitcoin get up to like $120,000. Okay, I want to see that later on this week. Okay, let's see. Look at the weekly candle here. We had a nice green weekly candle here on Bitcoin. We're up 4%. We started the week at $114,000 Bitcoin, and now we're at $118,000. So that's good to see. We negated this red bearish engulfing candle that gave people a scare the previous week, on the last week of July. So after giving people a good scare, we're now recovering and probably going to be on our way to higher prices here. If we do go to higher prices here, we do have to get past this $123,000 level here on Bitcoin, where we got that high back on the second week of July. And I do want to see Bitcoin get up to $130,000. Okay, that's the 1272 fib extension level here that I think Bitcoin could possibly get up to maybe later on in August. Okay, maybe sometime in September. Okay, but then also we got the 1618 saying that $138,000 Bitcoin could also be in play too, and I think that's going to be sometime in September. Maybe going into October as well. Okay, but we take it one level at a time. Right now, it would be nice to see $120,000 Bitcoin, because that's like a psychological number for people to stick to. It's like a big, advertisement, like, hey, Bitcoin at $120,000. You should probably take this thing serious and get yourself some Bitcoin or some crypto. And there are people coming into crypto. I see some of my friends and family asking me more about crypto the higher the price of Bitcoin goes. Okay. So that's a good marketing tool there for Bitcoin. And then we do want to see Bitcoin get to $123,000, and we'll see how it handles itself there. I know some shorts want to start short selling it. They're thinking that they're going to catch the top of Bitcoin, and it could end up being a double top. And if it ends up being a double top, I got to give you the bearish case here for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does do a double top here for some reason and come down to lower prices, then we do have the 21 EMA that could act as a support at $102,000 Bitcoin. Okay, and the deep retracement at 0.236, we could see $104,000 Bitcoin all over again. Okay, so I'm not like this guy that's gonna be like, oh yeah, Bitcoin going $180,000, $200,000, and that's and there's no point of like looking back. The price of Bitcoin is not going to go down to lower prices. No, I'm of the belief that Bitcoin goes up and it goes down, and it could possibly go down to $102,000, $104,000. Where we could get some support off the weekly 21 EMA here, and that's also where the 0.236 retracement's at. And then if I click on the daily time frame here, we do have some moving averages that could act as support. We have the 50 moving average that could act as support at $109,200 Bitcoin, and then we also have the 100 and the 200-day moving average that are sitting at $99,000 and $101,000. So I highly doubt that Bitcoin goes below 100K again, because we have all this support below us. Okay, but who knows? This could be the top, but I highly doubt it. All right, I believe that I'm of the belief that we're going to continue on making bull flags, consolidating, and then more bull flags, and then just heading back up to like $130,000 Bitcoin and making new all-time highs. All right, I see we got John316 in the chat, and he wants me to get into Chronos. Okay, we'll talk about Chronos as part of the requests here. And John316 says, cash out your house and buy, but wait till bear market to buy buy your house, I guess. Yeah, I'm of the belief I actually do implement the strategy of I try to buy cryptocurrencies during the bear market, and then I try to sell them during the bull market. at higher prices, and then I take my profits from crypto and I move it into real estate, and I try to buy income producing properties. I already have you know, like a 3-family myself that I'm renting out to 3 different tenants, and I'm trying to buy another 3-family as well at some point, using the money that I made here in crypto, and just keep buying more rental properties and real estate using crypto to help me get there for the down payments. B4 says he might be a little bit late to the train. You know, everybody has different timelines. Maybe no one really sat him down and told him to take it serious about Bitcoin. You know, I had a buddy of mine back in 2016 told me to take Bitcoin serious when Bitcoin was at like $800 to $1,000, and then that's when I started paying attention to the price of Bitcoin. And then I saw Bitcoin go from 1,000 to 2,000, and then 2,000 to 3,000. I was like, okay, this thing actually moves, and it can actually make you money. So that's when I bought my first Bitcoin at $3,000 back in 2017. Okay. But, you know, everybody's got to get started somewhere, right? And he could get started with the altcoins, too, if he wants. Some of these altcoins have potential to make a lot of gains here. Alright, so let me go ahead and start writing down some of these requests here. Gonna see the requests are coming in. Appreciate you guys coming in and putting in the requests. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. For my TikTok guys, don't forget to hit the double tap the button. Double tap the screen to show the likes here, so TikTok knows we have a good stream here. So we got Kronos. All right, and then Idrius wants to look at Pepe and Zbet. Okay. And I believe there were some requests that came before that. I'm just starting to write down these requests here. We're going to be talking about altcoins here. Velja HD says, is Jupiter Exchange good for trading? It's good for trading Solana coins and Solana meme coins. You'll find all the Solana newest coins on Solana being traded on Jupiter Network. And Jupiter Network's been around for a while. Jupiter Exchange has been around. It should be a good exchange, I believe. Yeah. Yes, I have seen Litecoin lately. We'll take a look at Litecoin if that's a request that you got there. And then Money's asking me, Money247 is asking me if I had $5,000 to start with, how would I do it? Definitely do not neglect the fact that Bitcoin goes up, you know, in price, because Bitcoin usually goes up first before the other altcoins do. So definitely get yourself like some Bitcoin, maybe like $1,000 or $2,000. If you're brand new to, you know, cryptocurrencies, I would say probably put like maybe half of your portfolio in Bitcoin, and then maybe 25% of it into like one of the top tier altcoins out there, like Solana or XRP, and then maybe another 25% into an altcoin that you think would, you know, probably do better than Solana or XRP, maybe like Sui or AVAX, another, you know, layer 1 coin that has some promise and potential. So that's how I would split it up. And then once you start getting comfortable with cryptocurrencies, then you could maybe, I don't know, most people would say don't sell your Bitcoin, but you could probably take some of your Bitcoin and exchange it for an altcoin that you like instead. You know, you could sell some of your Bitcoin to like buy, you know, like Aerodrome Finance or some other altcoin out there that you like. Okay. But that's how I would get started. First, don't neglect Bitcoin. Get yourself some Bitcoin, because it's going to be a good anchor for your portfolio, and it's not going to cause your portfolio to go too crazy up or down. But it should, you know, you should start with Bitcoin first, in my opinion. All right. And then G Token says MSC on Solana just about to start pushing. All right. I don't know if that's a request. Shaz says Bitcoin reaching 150,000 by the end of the year. I think that could be possible. Yep. Another guy here saying, yep. All right. And then I'm just trying to see if there's any other requests here. I'm pretty sure I saw someone talk about Ethereum. And G Token wants to look at Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance right after this, because we're already talking about Bitcoin right now. And you know, we haven't really talked about Ethereum, but I'm gonna throw in Ethereum in there probably after we talk about Bitcoin. Okay. And then we'll look at Kronos and Pepe, Zbet, and Litecoin to get started here. But appreciate you guys coming into the the live stream and putting in these requests. I'm doing a live stream with TikTok and YouTube. That's normally how I do things here. So I got to make sure I don't neglect my YouTube guys here, and I know my TikTok guys are keeping me busy right now. But yeah, let's get started. We're gonna look at Bitcoin dominance to see how that's doing, because Bitcoin dominance tells us another story about whether we're getting an altcoin season or not, and how the altcoin season is doing. So we're now looking at the daily time frame here for Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is currently at 60.47%. It's actually going up today because Bitcoin is catching some bids, okay? And what I have seen here with Bitcoin dominance is we were kind of like doing a bear flag here, okay? And I don't know if I have to draw up the flag, but you can see like this is kind of like the flag portion, and then this is the flagpole, and then you just take out to like where we kind of like broke out of the flag here for market cap dominance. And this is saying that, you know, market cap dominance could get down to like 56% here on Bitcoin market cap dominance. And that if it does that, then you know for damn sure we're in an altcoin season, okay? But the reason why I say altcoin season is actually here is because we have seen Bitcoin dominance drop from like, you know, 65% down to this 200-day moving average, which was sitting at 62%. And then we kept going below the 200-day moving average down to like the 60% area. Then we came back up. You know, Bitcoin tried to give a little bit of a fight here. We back tested the 200-day moving average, and we got rejected off of it, okay? Came down a little bit more. Then we tried again, and we did a double confirmation that we are you know, rejecting the 200-day moving average, and now we're currently below the 200-day moving average, well below the 200-day moving average. This to me shows that we are in altcoin season here. Stay below the 200-day moving average and on the Bitcoin dominance, and yeah, you know, altcoin seasons is here, and altcoins will do well, in my opinion, as long as we're below that 200-day moving average. Last time we were below the 200-day moving average, I don't know if you guys remember how good things were back in November and December of last year of 2024. But yeah, that's when we lost the 200-day moving average back in the end of November of 2024. And then we came back up, and we didn't really, you know, we kind of rejected the 200-day moving average, but then we came right back up again here towards the end of December on Bitcoin dominance. And, you know, Bitcoin still, you know, was still a Bitcoin show going into January and February of this year of 2025. But look at this, you know, we're actually, Bitcoin's not able to keep up. Bitcoin's not able to push these altcoins down, and the altcoins are now finally starting to have their day in the sun here, in my opinion. So Bitcoin dominance, we like to see Bitcoin dominance go down. We want more money going into altcoins because, you know, some of us have some altcoins that we want to actually make money off of, and I think we're finally getting that opportunity right now. I see Dave P's in the chat. You guys love talking about Chronos here. I see that. And you want me to take a look at Redstone? Ticker is red. Okay, I got you. We'll take a look at that after Litecoin. So I got a few requests before you, Dave. But we're gonna look at your coin later on here. I got you. All right. So that's Bitcoin dominance. We're gonna move on to Ethereum, because Ethereum actually did pretty well this weekend, and we want to see how well it's doing. Ethereum is also part of the narrative of why we're getting an altcoin season here. Ethereum is actually currently trading at $4,224 here, well above all the moving averages, including the 21 EMA, 50-day moving average, that green line there, and the 200 and the 100. Okay. If Ethereum was to get a pullback, I would expect to try to come down to like where the 21 EMA is sitting at, and that's at $3,766. That could be where Ethereum kind of like cools down and consolidates if it does decide to come down to that level. But there's nothing that says that Ethereum needs to come down to that level. Besides maybe the RSI. Let's take a look at the RSI here real quick. RSI on Ethereum. We were overbought here on Saturday, and today we're still a little bit overbought. But that RSI could stay overbought as Ethereum just continues gobbling up more dollars here and getting more money put into the Ethereum ecosystem here. I think there's a guy on Wall Street called Tom Lee who's buying as much Ethereum as he possibly can, and he's trying to do basically what MicroStrategy has done with their, you know, Bitcoin treasury fund. He is putting billions of dollars into Ethereum, and I think it's starting to show here that they're buying up Ethereum right now and creating a Ethereum treasury fund for their company. I forgot the name of it. It's something like a Bitmine or something like that, I think. But you guys can always do research on Tom Lee and the Ethereum treasury, and you'll find the name of the company. But the good news for the Ethereum bulls is that we actually did get a green dot here on Thursday on Market Cipher B that says that, you know, a good day to be buying Ethereum was this past Thursday, August 7th. And until you get a red dot that shows up, I mean, you can still be bullish on Ethereum. Ethereum could still be climbing up to higher prices here. And if Ethereum does climb up to higher prices here, I do have a fib extension here that says the 1272 says that we could see Ethereum get up to like $4,800. And that's basically the all-time high for Ethereum, because we haven't seen Ethereum at $4,800 since 2021, back in November of 2021, right? Where we saw Ethereum in November 2021, right, get as high as $4,867.81 on Coinbase Exchange. Okay, so I think that's the next target for Ethereum, since we are past most of the other targets here. Ethereum has a 1272 extension. 4,874 is the next target for Ethereum. And I guess I'll go ahead and I'll just highlight that. We'll just put a horizontal line here saying that we are expecting Ethereum to get up to that price right there, 4,800. And if Ethereum continues on in 2025, catching more bids and more money going into Ethereum ecosystem, we do have a 1618 that says we could see a $5,800 Ethereum. And then further on, we do see a 2618 that says $8,500 Ethereum could be a possibility. I think that could happen in 2025 here. And then we also got 2026 maybe could possibly see Ethereum get up to that price. And then I'll give you one last bonus here. There is a 3618 extension that says $11,000 Ethereum is also a possibility here, based on what Ethereum has done in the charts here. Okay, so those are your high watermarks, high targets for Ethereum. I think we just covered the low here for Ethereum. If Ethereum does drop down in price, we could see $3,700 Ethereum based off of the 21 EMA. And then you got the 0.786 retracement that says we could see $3,500 Ethereum. Those are your downside targets if you're looking for some cheaper Ethereum here. Let's see. I got a question here. They'll just ask me, what's the best meme coin? That's all subjective and opinionated, but I think the best meme coin for 2025 has been Pudgy Penguin coin. Pudgy Penguin coin is actually making money. They have an online merchandise store, and I think they're using that money to burn some of the token. And then they also found a way to make money by becoming a Solana validator. So I think right now, Pudgy Penguin is like the best meme coin of 2025, in my opinion. All right. Alright, yeah, I won't, Idris, I haven't forgot you. We're going to talk about Zbeck and Pepe. We're going to start going through the requests here. We just talked about Ethereum, then I got Kronos, and then Pepe's coming up next, okay? Alright, I got you, bro. Alright, so we just talked about Ethereum. Ethereum is doing some good things here. We'll move on to Kronos. Seems to be a very popular cryptocurrency in my YouTube chat here. Let's see how Kronos is doing. Kronos is at 16 cents right now, up 2.93% today. And what do we got here? What do we got here for Kronos? Nice green candles here, nice uptrend that you got. Looks like, oh, let me just, I just messed something up here. No, don't do that. All right, yeah. Kronos, 21 EMA. Looks like it got tested here back last weekend, and we got a bounce off the 21 EMA, and now we're heading up to higher prices here for Kronos. I did have a Fibonacci here that I used earlier that I still think is in play. The 1272 is saying that we could see a 16 cent, almost 17 cent Kronos coin. Did we actually get that high? We got as high as like 0.166 pennies on Saturday. So we're on our way to this 1272, which could act as resistance for Chronos. Let me just see what the RSI is looking like. RSI is getting a little bit high here. But it doesn't mean that we need to sell off. I mean, we could stay overbought on Chronos with the RSI here, like we did, you know, all throughout the month of July here. So I think Chronos could get up to this 1272, and we'll see how it handles itself. It might decide to go sideways before it does another leg up, and if it does another leg up, then we got the 1618 saying that we're eyeballing a take profit target of 19 cents here for Chronos. That's your 1618. And then I do have a take profit target too of 26 cents, and that's your 2618 fib extension level here for Chronos. Okay, and I believe Chronos can do that because we have seen Chronos at you know, 19 cents back here in December of 2024. And have we seen it at 26 cents? I believe, yeah. Looks like back here in 2022 we've seen Chronos at 26 cents. So those are your targets, I think, that are pretty realistic to hold on to, just using the Fibonacci's here. But yeah, I don't think we have much data to go off of besides, you know, just looking at the previous price data for Chronos. You know, 19 cents right now I think is your first take profit target based on what we saw back here in December of 2024. Now if Chronos starts losing the bids here and we go down in price for any reason here, we do have the 786 that says that Chronos could get some support at 13 cents. And then that's also kind of like where the 21 EMA is at 13, 14 cents here. So that's your downside target to scoop up some cheaper Chronos if you're able to get some at that level. All right, moving on from Chronos to Pepe. Pepe USD. Take a look at it on Kraken. Sure, why not? Looking at Pepe right now, currently trading at 12,011 points here, down 3.19% today. And what do we got here for Pepe? Pepe is just maintaining uptrend here, creating higher lows, so that's good to see. The moving averages are like kind of all over the place here. There's not really much uniformity or direction for the moving averages, but right now Pepe is getting above most of the moving averages right here. The moving averages are also tightly bunched up with each other, and when I see this with the moving averages, it means that an explosive move is coming for Pepe, whether to the downside or the upside. Because we are making higher lows here, I'm expecting the explosive move to be to the upside here on Pepe. And if Pepe does start to make an explosive move to the upside, first we got to get above the highs here in July at you know, 14,000 points here. Then we got to get above the highs here in May at 16,700 points here. But eventually you would want to see Pepe try to retest the highs here back in December of last year when we saw like Pepe at 28,000. And that's almost a double from where you are right now. Alright, if I turn on the VRVP here, it's going to be this green and red indicator here to the right, on the right side. Some people call it like a heat map. But yeah, if Pepe could get above these high volume nodes here, okay, which are sitting at like 12,000 and 14,000, once you get past 14,000, the volume drops off on the VRVP, and we could get that explosive move to the upside that takes us to the value area high, that white line at 18,000 for Pepe. And then if we can get past that resistance at 18,000, then we're looking at Pepe getting up to like 21,000 for the next resistance level. So that's your take profit target 1, take profit target 2. I would say take profit target 1 should be 18,000, take profit target 2 is going to be about 21,000. Okay, and if you get past 21,000, then I mean, now you're talking, can you get right back to where you were in December at 28,000? Okay, I see Duality C is in the chat. Good to see you, bro. Let me know if you have a request here. We're taking requests right now on your favorite altcoins. And then we'll take a look at some of my trades here, see how my trades are doing on Mexi Exchange. But yeah, that's Pepe in a nutshell here. I didn't really go over downside targets. If Pepe does go to lower prices here and we make a lower high for some reason, then we could come down to the 200-day moving average sitting at 10,000 for Pepe. Okay, I think that's where you can scoop up some cheaper Pepe at like 10 or 11,000 if you're lucky enough to get it at those prices. All right, moving on from Pepe to ZBEC. ZBEC Network. We got ZBEC currently trading at 52,100 points here, down 1.6% today. And what is ZBEC doing for us right now? ZBEC is currently contending up against this 618 and 65 retracement. This is the golden pocket level at 53,000 and 54,000. This could act as resistance for now, which it kind of is. You're kind of doing like a bullish consolidation on ZBEC. We want to see if ZBEC can make it up to the next price target of 61,000, which is your 786 retracement. And then we want to see if we can get back to the highs here that we made back in May when we saw 71,900 on ZBEC network here. Okay, those are your upside targets. Downside targets for ZBEC, using just the Fibonacci alone. We do have a 0.5 retracement at 47,000. ZBEC might want to come down there just to see if we get some support at that level. That's also where the 21 EMA, this white line, is sitting at 48,500. Could be where ZBEC wants to like chill out at if we're not able to catch any bids here. Okay, but I think you can just scoop up some cheaper ZBEC at this level here, and you'll be all right. Unless we lose those levels, and then we might end up coming right down probably to like right here where we were doing some sideways trading back in late July at like 40,000 for ZBEC, and that's your 0.38 retracement, and also your 50-day moving average is coming up at the 40,000 level here as well. So that could also be where you can scoop up some cheaper ZBEC if you're inclined to do so. All right. But long-term targets for ZBEC, just using the Fibonacci, we do have the 1618 saying that we could see a penny for ZBEC. And then we got the 1272 saying that we could get to 0.008 pennies for ZBEC. Those are your long-term targets probably later on in 2025 here. All right, moving on from ZBEC to a Litecoin. See how Litecoin's doing. We'll take a look at on buying this chart. Why not? Oh wow, I got a lot of data here. Litecoin currently trading at $124, up 3.69% today. I do have the Fibonacci and a bunch of moving averages here. Let me get rid of the moving averages for now. And we're just using this strictly with the Fibonacci that I pulled. Looks like I pulled it from $147, which I think is where Litecoin was trading at back in December of 2024. Yeah, that's a high watermark here for Litecoin. And then I pulled that fib all the way down to like $63 is where, Litecoin came down to here in April. And now we got the Fibonacci levels to look at here. And we are now trying to get up to the 0.786 retracement for Litecoin at $129. Did we actually get up that high? We kind of did here on Tuesday, August 5th here. We actually came up to like $128.98 on Binance Exchange. So kind of close, right? We'll just say it did hit it. So we kind of got rejected off the 0.786 retracement. Then we came right back down to the 0.65 retracement at $117 Litecoin. Okay. And we're just bouncing in between the two levels here on the daily time frame here. We want to see if we can catch some bids here to go to higher prices and actually move ourselves past this $129 resistance and make our way up to $147 for Litecoin. That's I think your short-term take profit target for Litecoin. And if Litecoin can make it past that level, then we got the 1272 saying $170 Litecoin could be in play. And then the 1618 saying $199. I don't know why it didn't say 200, but $199 should be a target for Litecoin based off the Fibonacci here. Okay. And yeah, let's see how the oscillators are doing for Litecoin. RSI is currently sitting at 67.51, so that is showing that we still have we're not overbought yet, but we're getting close to it. Once we get to 70, that's considered overbought. And then when you get overbought, you can stay overbought. So we do have some fuel in the tank to go to higher prices, in my opinion, on Litecoin. And then let's see, looking at Market Cipher B with a little cheat sheet, he had a green dot that said that, you know, August 4th was a good day to start buying Litecoin, and you would have probably caught that upside on Litecoin. The last time we had a red dot here was here on July 23rd, and that was a time to avoid the correction that we had towards the end of July here. Okay, so we do have a green dot, and we're expecting a red dot to tell us when, you know, is a good day to sell your Litecoin if you're day trading or swing trading it. But I think it's all systems go on Litecoin, in my opinion here, right? See that Market Cipher B came in, that red dot here came in July 23rd, and you would have avoided this little correction that we had here. And then that green dot came in August 4th, and you would have caught this upside here on Litecoin. So Market Cipher B, pretty helpful to use. Good indicator to add to your trading view chart, in my opinion. We got a request for SPX 6900. I appreciate that request. We'll take a look at that. We got a few coins ahead of it, but we'll get to it. And then we have a request for Turbo. All right, Fontini, I got you. We'll take a look at Turbo. All right. And now I got another request here for Propy, or Propy, however you say it. Take a look at Pro. Got you, bro. Alright. I see Jim's in the chat. Good to see you, Jim. Higher lows from 2024. Market could melt faces if liquidity cycle wants to be generous to the markets. Yeah, we got to talk about, you know, the FOMC meet, not the FOMC, the CPI report is coming out on Tuesday. And if we get a good CPI report that shows low inflation, that's going to give the green light to the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates in September, and we could see the market start to front run it in August, and we might have a good August going into September for the markets and for crypto here, in my opinion. All right, so we got to move on from Litecoin to Red. Red USD, Redstone. All right, so we're now looking at Redstone. I don't think we've had any previous chart work on here, but I still appreciate the request. Currently trading at 44 cents here, down a penny, down 2.28%. And this is what the chart looks like here on Coinbase. I wonder if there's more data here. Let me see if I can find Red on another exchange. Maybe Binance would be better. Oh no, it looks like it started trading here in March of 2025. Okay. So Redstone currently in a downtrend, or has been in a downtrend. Let me see if I can just draw this out here. We'll just kind of draw out the candle wicks here. So that is what the downtrend was looking like. And it looks like you're trying to get out of that downtrend on Redstone. You're now creating an uptrend now, where you're making higher lows here on Redstone here. So that's good to see. Keep doing that. Keep making higher lows on Redstone, and I think you'll be fine. I'm a little bit curious. Has it bottomed out? Have we created bullish divergence here? I don't know if you could really call it bullish divergence, but you are making higher lows here on the RSI, so that's good to see. And currently the RSI is sitting at 65, so you have, you know, enough juice in the tank to go to higher prices if you want before you become overbought. And looking at market cipher B, you did have a green dot here on August 6th that says that, you know, Wednesday, August 6th was a good day to buy some redstone. And let's see, if you did that, you would have caught some of this move up to the upside here. So market cipher B kind of like helps predict the future here a little bit. It's like a little bit of a cheat sheet in my opinion. Looking at the MACD, you have green candles here on the MACD, so that's good to see. You got some buying pressure showing up here on redstone, and I guess, you know, now you want to know, like, you know, how high could this thing possibly go? Well, we would want to see this thing eventually get up to like the candlewick highs here back in May at like 52 cents. This looks like the high water mark here. I'm gonna disregard this big giant green candle here, but it would be nice if you can get above that and actually stay above that green candle. That green candle got as high as like 60, almost 62 cents here. So I'm just gonna highlight this. We could just use previous price action, previous high. So that should be your first take profit target at 52 cents. And then your next price target after that should be probably 62 cents maybe. And that should take profit target 1, take profit target 2, going up to higher prices here on redstone. And I'll even throw in the VRVP here real quick just to see if it agrees with these levels. Right now, the VRVP showing that the point of control, the highest volume node, is sitting at 40 cents. That could be where you get some support. If this thing does come down to lower prices, you could scoop up some cheaper redstone for about like 10% cheaper than what it is trading at right now. But once you get past 40 cents, there's really nothing stopping you. You know, you got another high volume node here at 60 cents, so this thing might be on its way to 60 cents. You know, you got high volume node here. You got a big gap in the VRVP. There is a little bit of a volume here at like 48 cents. That might be your short-term day trading target, which is like 10% higher than where you are right now. But there's really nothing. This is like no man's land. You could see this thing pop up to higher prices in no time and get up to like 60 cents. Alright, just based off of the VRVP here. And then, let's see, we got more high volume at like 67 cents. And after that, the volume drops off again, and then you got more high volume at 82 cents. So maybe that could be like your next take profit target. Like a long-term swing trading target at 82, 83 cents. So you got like what? 42 cents. I'm sorry, no, 52 cents, 62 cents, and 82 cents. Here's your take profit target 1, take profit target 2, and take profit target 3 if I was gonna be trying to take profits here on redstone. Alright, okay. Moving on from redstone, we're gonna take a look at turbo and an SBS 6900. So let's look at turbo. I believe turbo is a meme coin, but it's also related to AI, or it was like a meme coin that was created by artificial intelligence. It's like that's the narrative or story that I've heard about it. Bitcoin baby says XRP to the moon. I'm taking that as a request. You want me to take a look at XRP? I can do that. We haven't really looked at XRP, but I think now's a good time to look at XRP. Now that we're in the middle of the live stream, and I don't have to talk about it again with someone like, hey, can you look at XRP? It's like, oh, we talked about it like 30 minutes ago. All right, looking at turbo, we see that turbo is currently trading at 0.00495 pennies here. I got the VRVP on right now. Why not? You know, we could always throw on the moving averages later. But let me just zoom out and get some more data here for turbo. Okay, all right. So here's what we got with turbo. Using the VRVP indicator, the green and red bars off to the right represents the green represents how many people were buying at that price. The red represents how many people were selling at that price. And when you get like these big bars, there's like a lot of bars. This is like a high volume node here, okay, which is a good area where there might be resistance or support. And then the highest volume node here would be where this blue line is sitting at, and this is what we call the point of control. That's sitting at 41,000, for Turbo here. So that's going to be probably your support for Turbo, because we're right above that right now. If Turbo comes down to low prices, I think you can scoop up some cheaper Turbo at like 41,000 or 42,000. Could be a good area to scoop up some cheaper Turbo if it does go down to that level. But you can see we have a gap in the VRVP in between 41,000 and 54,000. All right, we're in between that gap. So I think Turbo wants, if it's going to catch some bids here, it's going to want to go up to 54,000 before you get some resistance, before it kind of like chills out and goes sideways for a little bit. And you know, the reason why we got a high volume node here is because you can see that people back here in May earlier this year, this is where Turbo was trading at like 50,000, 54,000. Okay, so the people here, they might want to sell their Turbo and just break even, and that's going to cause some resistance for you. But if you can get past that 50,000 level here on Turbo, then the VRVP shows that the volume drops off. You get a little bit of high volume here at 70,000, 73,000, but you probably won't get significant resistance until you get to this value area high. This white line is the value area high, sitting at like 86,000. Okay, and 86,000 is where Turbo was trading at for the most part back in like October, November of last year, January, earlier this year. 80,000, 86,000 is probably going to be where Turbo is going to get sold. Because you have to think about it for a second. The people that bought back here in November and December, they probably thought they were buying Turbo at a low price, and then Turbo just went lower than that throughout 2025. So these people are like underwater right now at 80,000 for Turbo. And when Turbo gets back up to 80,000 or 90,000, in between 80 and 90,000, okay, they're going to want to probably break even if they had enough of it. If they want to get out of Turbo and do something else with their money, they're going to probably sell when it gets up to like 80 to 90,000. So I think that's going to be your take profit target, long-term take profit target for Turbo as of now, just using the VRVP. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of the VRVP right now, and we'll try on the moving averages, see what the moving average is doing. We do have moving averages for Turbo, the red, blue, green, and white lines here. And your red line is your 200-day moving average, and that's sitting below you at 0.038 pennies. I think that is a good area to scoop up some cheaper Turbo. Turbo should get a bounce off that level. And I think we talked about the VRVP saying that 40,000 was also a level to look out for. We could get some cheaper Turbo. But it's good to see that we're actually above the moving averages now. And I think Turbo just needs to continue climbing up to higher prices and getting people more excited to be in it again. Get above, you know, this last high here at 69,800 on July 14th. And then, you know, we could be off to the races here on Turbo. Let's see. Jim is saying some things here in the chat. Let's see what Jim is saying. You say, I swear there's got to be a conspiracy behind this 1 billion supply cap that coins launch with. Got to be the DM venture capitalists. I see 1 billion everywhere now. I think it's just a number that they think works for most coins. 1 billion. But, you know, why not 1 million? Why does it always have to be 1 billion? I understand where you're coming from. Someone brought up a great point. What happens when the yen gets a stable coin? Yen carry trade being introduced to crypto could have an explosive effect on the market. Yeah, that would be interesting because a lot of people like borrowing money from Japan with their low interest rates, and they take it over to the United States and they just buy US treasuries that have higher interest rates, or they get into other, you know, investments and stocks that pay higher dividend yields. And if they can somehow bring all that money, I think it's like trillions of dollars from the yen carry trade over to crypto, that's just going to put more money in the crypto, and it's going to be good for the ecosystem here. All right. Marvin Van Norwich says, my prediction on Pepe. We already talked about Pepe. But I'll take a look at that real quick here. I'll give you a summary analysis since you mentioned it. And what do I say? I said, you know, Pepe needs to stay above 1,000, obviously, right? But we're looking for, I think we're looking for, you know, Pepe to probably get above the highs here in May at the 16,000. You want to see 16,000 Pepe, and then 28,000, which is where Pepe was trading at in December of last year. Okay. And I think I did the VRVP on that one. But yeah, that's the summary analysis. So your take profit target 1 is 16,000, and your take profit target 2 on Pepe is going to be 28,000. That's going to be pretty much a double in price from where it is right now. All right, moving on from Pepe, we're going to now look at SPX 6900, which I believe is a meme coin. And it's just a meme coin playing off of the S&P 500 going to 69,000 points, which is, I think is the S&P 500. Let me see. Has it made it up to? A little bit curious. The S&P 500 is currently trading at 63,000 points, so we're about like 600 points away, 500 points away from that. That'd be cool to see S&P 500 at that price. But anyways, looking at the price of SPX 6900, trading at $1.90, down 2.14% today. Let me get rid of this previous chart work here. As I start to zoom in on SPX 6900, SPX 6900 looks like yeah, it's just doing pretty well actually. It's in a nice uptrend. Let me just try to draw that out. You're just making higher lows and higher lows here as you continue the uptrend on SPX 6900. You're above all the moving averages, which is good to see. You're even above the highs that you made here back in January, where we saw this thing as high as $1.80. So you're above those highs. And the most recent high was, or the high for the year is actually at $2.28 for SPX 6900. I'm trying to figure out where I want to draw some fibs here to get an idea of like where this thing could go next. We'll draw from this high watermark. I'll just draw from the high to the low, the most recent low, like $1.43. Yeah, we got down to like $1.42, $1.43 around that area. All right, so just using this Fibonacci, this most recent Fibonacci here. We're coming back up to the 618 golden pocket for SPX 6900. We'll see how it handles itself at that level. It looks like it's like $1.99 or $1.96. Okay, that could be resistance for now until we can get above it and use it as support, and then we'll see how it handles itself at the $2.10 level. That's the 0.786 retracement for SPX 6900. But if SPX 6900 can get above that and also get above the highs here, the all-time high at $2.28, we're looking at a 1272 that we could see SPX 6900 get up to $2.51, and that could be a resistance level. So that could be your take profit target 1. And then the 1618 says $2.81 could be a resistance level. Then that could be your take profit target 2. And then your 2618 says that we could see a $3.66 SPX 6900 maybe later on in 2025 here. And then for you degens that want to hold on and get those sick gains, you might even see a 3618. You might see a $4.51 SPX 6900. That could be later on in 2025 going into 2026. But I think it's steady as she goes for SPX 6900. Let's look at the oscillators here real quick. MACD is showing less selling pressure, so it looks like SPX 6900 is getting ready for another run up to higher prices. Also, the RSI is at 56.6, so you have the fuel in the fuel tank. You have the rocket fuel in the fuel tank to actually go to higher prices here and rocket up. And then just looking at market cipher B here real quick, you had a green buy dot that says that SPX 6900 got the green light to go to higher prices on August 7th. That would be this Thursday. And if you're using this as like a little cheat sheet, you're just waiting for a red dot to show up like you did here on July 30th. And when you see a red dot shows up, that's probably a good time to take some profits on your markets, on your SPS 6900, but you haven't had that red dot show up yet, and money flow is just starting to get back into your coin here for SPS 6900. So I think SPS 6900 might be ready to start going up to higher prices, in my opinion. Pretty nice solid chart there. All right, moving on from SPS 6900, we'll take a look at Proppy, and then we'll look at XRP after that. All right, Proppy. Proppy is an interesting coin. I've been in it myself. It's a play on the real estate market, bringing the real estate market onto blockchain here. Let's see how it's doing. Right now, it's currently trading at 79 cents, down 1.65% today. And let's see. Oh, I got the daily time frame here. So Proppy's been in a downtrend. It's been like kind of like a losing trade ever since April 2024. We've been in a downtrend. And I kind of want to draw out the downtrend right now using the candle wicks here. So we're still kind of in a downtrend on Proppy, in my opinion here. We got to get above this yellow line here for us to become more bullish on Proppy. Right now, Proppy's just kind of doing sideways trading here at the current price level of 79 cents. And I'm a little bit curious why it wants to chill at this level. Let me turn the VRVP here real quick. Oh my god, like almost all the price action is in between these two white lines here. Right? Between 93 cents and so the price action has been, most of the buying and sells have been for Proppy. So you're kind of at the value area low right now, so this should be a good price to be buying Proppy. Even better prices was back here in April when we saw this thing get as low as like 48 cents. I don't know if you're ever going to see 48 cents again, unless you lose the value area low. If you lose the price that you're at right now with Proppy, then yeah, this thing could probably come down to like 50 or even 48 cents here. But I think you're in a good area to be buying or starting to buy Proppy. Let me get rid of the VRVP for now. And you got the 200-day moving average sitting at 83 cents. That's going to act as a bully for now until you can actually treat it as support. So I want to see Proppy get above 83 cents to be a little bit more optimistic and bullish on Proppy. And then I want to see us get above the 50-day moving average at 87 cents. I don't think that's too hard to ask. That's only like, 8 cents away. Another 10% move up in price. But then, going forward, you have to get above the highs here in May at $1.27 to start making the case that you're making higher highs again. Okay? So good that you're making higher lows for Proppy. But let's get above $1.27 and that'll get people more excited about Proppy. You'll see more money flowing into the coin if it does that. Okay. So I think for now, I think $1 psychological target should be take profit target 1, and $1.27, which is the highs here in May, should be take profit target number 2 for Proppy. And just don't lose, the price that you're at right now. You're kind of near the lows. See, we saw this thing as low as 74 cents last weekend. And 72 cents. So yeah, just don't lose 72 cents. Put your stop loss at 72 cents. And if you lose 72 cents, then there's something wrong with Proppy. But I think you are catching the lows here for Proppy for now. And like I said, dollar should be your first take profit target if you're day trading it, swing trading it. And then $1.27 should be your second take profit target as of now. And then we'll just have to look at this chart again. Once it makes it past $1.27, we'll take a look at the chart and see if where Proppy might go next after that. All right, moving on from Proppy to XRP. All right, XRP. Looking at trading at $3.19. Down 1% today. But, you know, XRP has done some big things over the month of July here. Ever since we got that stablecoin bill and the Genius Act passed, it's been off to the races here for XRP, where we saw XRP get up to like 366 on July 18th. And I drew a fib, you know, did a fib analysis from 366 down to the $1.90 level, which is where XRP was trading at in June 22nd. And it gives me these Fibonacci numbers to look out for here. We did see XRP come down to the 0.5 retracement at 278. And we actually came a little bit below that at like 273 here on last Saturday, and came down to like 272 on Sunday. Before we caught the little bit of a bounce here, got above the 618 golden pocket, came up to the 786 retracement at 328. And now this 328 level is kind of acting as resistance for now, but once we can flip that from resistance into support, we should have another go at $3.66 XRP. I think that could happen later on this month. And then going into like next month, we might see $4 XRP, because that's your 1272 fib extension. And then you got the 1618 saying that we could see $4.74 XRP. I think that could happen sometime in the fall here for XRP. But we're just taking it one level at a time here. I think by now, you know, for XRP, I think we'll clearly stay above the moving averages here. You know, the moving averages, 200 days sitting at $2.45, and the 50 moving average at $2.52. That's going to be where people get excited to buy cheaper XRP. So $2.50, $2.45 should be your buy limit orders if you're able to get lucky enough to get some cheaper XRP at that level. But I think those are your downside targets if XRP does, you know, for whatever reason, decide to do a little poopy-doopy and come down to the moving averages here. All right, Jim, I see a request there for Corvo, QRVO. I got you, bro. Let me go ahead and write that down. And then I'll take a look to see if there's any other requests here in my TikTok stream. Who is asking when is ult season? I think ult season's literally right now. I think ult season started when we passed that stablecoin bill in July, the Genius Act. And we looked at the Bitcoin dominance chart to get an idea as like how Bitcoin dominance is doing. And ever since that stablecoin bill came out, Bitcoin dominance has been dropping like a rock, and we're below the 200-day moving average. So I think altcoin season is literally right now. Yep. And as long as we're below that 200-day moving average, we'll be in altcoin season. But once we come back up to that 200-day moving average on Bitcoin dominance, then, you know, that's probably the end of altcoin season. To be honest with you, you should be considering selling your altcoins when you see that happening. All right. And then Jim, what did you say here? The chart reflects the confusion on the balance sheet, I believe, on 108, but forward PE is 12. Okay, all right. So yeah, let's take a look at Corvo. We're now looking at a stock here, guys, on the stock market, trading on the NASDAQ exchange. And this is Corvo, trading at $88.09. Looking at the daily time frame, the daily chart here. As I start to zoom out and see where this thing has been. Looks like we have seen higher prices in 2024. $127 on July 15th of 2024. So I'm a little bit curious what happened here, because we had a little gap. We had a gap down here in October. Boom. Something bad happened here in October. Let's say if I click on the earnings report, you actually had a good earnings report. So I don't know why. Jim, do you know why this stock dropped down in October of last year? You had a good earnings report. You had a surprise to the upside on your earnings. $19 million surprise on revenue. And then you've been making lower highs and lower lows. what does this thing do? It's in the semiconductor field. Okay. So it's like competing against like Nvidia and Intel, I believe. It says Qorvo provides semiconductor solutions for RF and power. The firm combines product and technology leadership, system-level expertise, and global manufacturing skill to quickly solve its customers' most complex technical challenges. Looks like they're into automotive and electric vehicle batteries and consumer electronics and smart homes. They're also in the healthcare and aerospace defense. How big of a company is this? Let's see what the market cap is for this thing. $8 billion company. Okay, so they got a lot of business. Apparently, they're in a lot of segments, a lot of different industries, but it's all related to like computer chips here. Anyways, looking at Qorvo. Looks like Qorvo trading at $88.09 here, above the 200-day moving average. So if it's above the 200-day moving average, I can be bullish on it. Okay, I'm gonna have a bullish bias. If it's below the 200-day moving average, that's when I become bearish again. Whatever asset we're looking at. Okay, so this asset above the 200-day moving average, above the red line, I'm bullish. Okay, and you got mostly moving averages below you. 21 EMA likes to follow the price action tightly. So nothing too crazy here with the 21 EMA. You know, when it gets away from the 21 EMA, like it did here back in April, you can see it comes right back to the 21 EMA. Okay. So in this case, that was a good time to buy. Okay. Same thing over here. Like when the 21 EMA, well, the 21 EMA dropped really significant back in November, but when you get away from the 21 EMA to the upside, that's when we come right back to it again. So 21 EMA, very important moving average to add to your chart, I would say, Jim. If you start using 21 EMA, could help you figure out if things are overbought or oversold here. But we're really close to 21 EMA, sitting at 86.52, so we're not really overbought or oversold. Just using the 21 EMA. Let's look at the RSI on this asset here. Your RSI is sitting at 58, so you're not overbought or oversold, and you're making a higher low compared to what you did here back in April. I think April was a bad month, bad week. The first week of April was a bad week for a lot of assets, including Bitcoin. And also the stock market as well, because that was when we had the Liberation Day, you know, August 2nd or 3rd or whatever. It was like, I'm not August, April 2nd. We had Liberation Day, and Trump did all those crazy tariffs and gave people a good scare, and that caused the market to drop down because of that. So that was actually a good time to buy. You know, when Trump then did the 90-day pause on tariffs, he had that green dot show up here on April 14th, saying that was a good day to buy your Qorvo. But yeah, we're just looking at, I'm just becoming more familiar with this asset here, and eventually I'll draw a Fibonacci, see what we can do with that. I like the fact that your MACD is showing less selling pressure. You're getting pink candles showing up here on your MACD. Okay, eventually you might start seeing some green candles, and if you get green candles, that means that buying pressure showing up, and maybe this is the low for now. Like this could have been this low right here on August 1st. That could have been your higher low that you're looking for, and now you're trying to see if you can make a higher high again here. And then you got that green buy dot that showed up on Market Cipher B saying Thursday was a good day to buy Qorvo. And when you get the green buy dot, it usually means like the next few days, maybe even the next few weeks, you might see some upside price action. And I think what it's doing is taking into account, you know, what's going on with the MACD and also what's going on with the RSI here. And let's see, stochastic RSI is it low? Yeah, also stochastic RSI is low. So all that data and information gets compiled into this Market Cipher B, and that's when you get a green buy dot showing up, saying that, you know, Thursday, August 7th was a good day to buy, and you're probably going to get a few more good days ahead of you. So I think you're looking to see higher prices here for Corvo, and if you are going to see higher prices, let's see. I will do a Fibonacci on this to get some Fibonacci extension levels to look for. You got your 1272 saying that you could see $102 for Corvo, and the 1618 saying you could see $117 for Corvo. And I'll throw in the VRVP. See if the VRVP comes to an agreement with any of these levels here. And I got data going all the way back to like 2020 here. And it looks like we have a high volume node. You got some high volume nodes here. You got a high volume node at 113 bucks. Okay. Not really at that $117 level, but we did say $117 was something to look out for. And you got your high volume. Actually, you got your high value area at $117. So I think $117 should be a take profit target for Corvo here. But don't be surprised if people start front running you, because $112, $113 is also a high volume node here. And then just going forward, you know, we got the 2618 saying $159 could be a possibility here. And you also got some high volume there on your VRVP. And you also got high volume here at 130 bucks. So, you know, just pick whatever target makes sense to you. I think 117 makes a lot of sense because you got your high value area. You got a high volume node at that level. And then you also got the 1618 saying $117. So I think that should be your long-term swing trading take profit target, $117. And then also you got a lot of volume here at $102 as well. And that's your 1272 fib extension level there. Alright, so that's Corvo. Let's see what else we got here. Any other requests here? If not, we'll probably take a look at some of my live trades here on Mexi Exchange. I think now's a good time to go into Mexi. Alright. So guys, we're going to take a look at see how my trades are doing on Mexi Exchange. Mexi is a pretty good exchange, cryptocurrency exchange to get yourself into. They got the lowest trading fees out there. If you're a day trader, that definitely helps. We can see my grass trades currently at a little bit below 82 cents here. I think I bought a little bit of grass yesterday at 83 cents. So I'm a little bit underwater on that trade, but I also bought some more grass at a lower price here at like 67, 68 cents here. So I'm in profit on that you know, buy position there. Let's see how the other trades are doing. Let's see, grass is up 175% for me. Coconut is up 89%. Virtuals up 124%. Zeus is up 166% for me. And you can see, like, you know, the price that I got into. If I could just zoom over there. These are the prices that I got into on these trades. So, like, you know, for Zeus, I got in at 13 cents. Right now it's at 14 cents. Virtual, I got in at $1.34. Now it's at $1.43. Coconut, 0.0, we'll just call it 640. Right now it's at 669. Grass at 75 cents. And now it's, you know, trading at 81 cents. I got an AI16Z at 12 cents and currently trading at 14 and Pegu. So I bought earlier this week, guys, on these trades here. And I'm still in the green, but it's like, I don't know. My best one so far is AI16Z. I'm up 436% with 20x leverage long on that. It's crazy, you know, like I bought at 12 cents and that, you know, now it's trading at 14 cents, and with 20x leverage, it somehow ends up being like a 436% gain here. You guys able to see that? Yeah, you guys can see that. Alright, Chris, with all these requests here, I'm gonna have to limit 2. Okay? Chris, which one do you want out of those ones you gave me? Which one do you want to look at? I'll give you 2 requests. Because I'll be here all day if I did all of them. And especially if if I get the same people asking me for like 5 or 6 coins, I'll be here all day. Florida in here is like, give us a trade for today. Okay. Out of the ones that I'm in right now, or out of all the possible coins you could get into. Because what I like to do when I want to figure out what's a good coin to get into, I like to see which one got beat up the most during the week, and it could mean that it might have a better week next week. So let's look at CoinMarketCap.com. And out of the top 100 cryptocurrencies here, I like to go over here where it says 7-day percentage, and just right now we see Aerodrome Finance had like the best week, so might be possible short. You could possibly short Aerodrome. But if you're looking for a long trade, looks like Monero got beat up the most this past week, and Altcoin. Those might be a couple of coins you might want to think about getting into. Let's take a look at Altcoin on the chart here for TradingView. Alright, let me get rid of the VVP for now. But you can see here, Altcoin had better days here in December. I do have some previous chart work here. Altcoin is just getting above the 200-day moving average, so that's good to see. 200-day moving at $3.33. This thing's at $3.34. This could be a trade. Might be worth getting into. Let's see what the RSI is showing. RSI is at 52, so it has fuel in the tank to go to higher prices here. And the MACD is also showing selling pressure here, but you had a pink candle show up on Saturday, which showed that there was less selling pressure. But then looks like today we got more selling pressure. So I don't know. I guess you should wait for a green day to show up, right? And you want to see a green dot show up, and the green dot hasn't shown up yet on Market Cipher B. So I'm not sure if Altcoin is the one for you, but it could possibly be here. And if Altcoin was to go up to higher prices, you want to see it get up to like 618 at $3.58, and then also get up to like the 786 at 384. And if you measure that out here, from where we are right now to the 618 at like that gives you like a 7% gain, but you slap on like 20x leverage, and that becomes like a 140% gain. And if you want to take it up to the 786 retracement, that's a 15% gain, but you slap on like 20x leverage, and that's going to be a 300% gain. Okay. And then the other one was Monero. I think Monero might be even better than Altcoin if you're able to trade that one. Because Monero has been beaten down over the last few weeks here, since May of 2025 here. And you're currently sitting at the 200-day moving average, holding on to dear life here for Monero. But if you're able to catch the bids here on Monero, you might want to, you could see this thing possibly try to revisit the 50-day moving average, which is sitting at $3.23, and also that's where you got a lot of sideways trading action at that price, $323. So if we measure that one out, right, if we just buy right now and we take this up to the $320 level here, that's about a 21% gain. You slap on some 20x leverage to that becomes a 400% gain. Okay, so I think Monero might be worth taking a look at here. Let's see, do we have anything good on the MACD? Selling pressure. Look, selling pressure was starting to die off here on Saturday, but then we came back and we got more selling pressure on Sunday. So that's, but you want to see the selling pressure dying down like you did here back in June, and then eventually get some green candles here. So I don't know, maybe Monero might be worth taking a look at for a trade today. Stochastic RSI is low, so that's good to see. And I guess you're just waiting for Market Cipher B to show a green buy dot, and then you could buy some Monero here at relatively low prices and try to take it up to higher prices here. Let's see what Jim is saying here. I wish Monero was less expensive. Digital cash being somewhat cheap is nice for a broad use case. Alright, so Chris, have you figured out which one you want me to look at? You want to look at Aurora and Pixel. Okay, we'll take a look at those two. I got you. And then somebody here said, am I on Webull? No, I'm not on Webull. How long have I been live streaming for? I started at like 11:45. We're almost, I think we're like an hour and a half into this live stream. I think I'll do those two cryptos that you just gave me, Chris. And then we'll look at Bitcoin one more time on the way out. And then that's going to be it for me today. I gotta get the rest of my day here going. Alright, so we'll take a look at Aurora. On Coinbase, okay. Oh, you're welcome, Jim. You're welcome for the TA. I'm glad you're enjoying the live stream here. Guys, if you're enjoying the live stream, don't forget to hit that like button, especially if I'm going over your cryptocurrencies and your stocks and I'm giving you some good TA here, some good technical analysis. The least you could do is hit that like button. And for my TikTok guys, you just gotta double tap the screen, and that's how you send in the like. All right. So we're now looking at Aurora, currently trading at 0.078 pennies here, down 3.19% today. Looks like you're getting rejected off the 100-day moving average. This blue line is acting as resistance. It has been acting as resistance in previous days and weeks before today. 21 EMA. 21 EMA could act as support, maybe. That's sitting at 0.0779 pennies here. I do like the fact that you're making higher lows. That's good to see. Looks like the lowest low was July 8th at 0.065 pennies. And then, yeah, we even seen a lower low for the year, I believe, at 0.062 pennies. So you could be cashing the bottom here on Aurora, maybe. I like the fact that you're making higher lows. Now the next thing I want to see is, can you make higher highs and actually make an uptrend? If you do try to make higher highs, you got to get above 0.097 pennies on July 14th. And also get above this 200-day moving average at 0.094 pennies. But if you get above 0.097, you're going to get above that 200-day moving average. So I think for now, this is your target, 0.097 pennies. That's your first take profit target. And then you gotta try to see if you can get above some of the highs here back in April, where we saw this thing as high as like 11 pennies, 0.117 pennies. So that's gonna be your next take profit target, in my opinion, is like right over here. Okay, take profit target 1, 9 pennies. Take profit target 2, 11 pennies. I want to see what the VRVP has to say about this thing. The VRVP indicator, that's that green and red indicator off to the right, is showing your point of control is at 9 pennies. So that's like almost like where we said the take profit target 1 should be, right? Then you get a drop after you get past, 10 pennies here. You get a drop in the volume, a little bit of resistance at 11 pennies. But even more resistance is at 12.5 pennies for some reason here. Okay, you got some more high volume node at 13 pennies as well, and 15 pennies, and then the volume starts to drop, and you get your value or your high at like 20 pennies. So I think ultimately your long-term target should be 20 pennies on this asset. Should I give you some downside targets here? Let's see. Just don't lose the low that you made here on August 2nd at 7 pennies. You put your stop loss right below 7 pennies, and if you lose that, I mean, there might be something wrong with this asset, and it might still be in a downtrend, and you don't probably want to continue losing more money. So I would just put the stop loss at 7 pennies as of now. But I think, yeah, you could be in the process of bottoming out here on Aurora. Just keep making higher lows, and start making higher highs and show us that you can make an uptrend here, and I'm sure more money will start pouring into the asset once we can confirm that we're in an uptrend here. All right, moving on from Aurora to, what was the other one that you said? Pixels? All right, we'll take a look at Pixels. Oh, Chris, thank you. I'm glad you think I'm awesome. The 260 show says what site you trading on. So right now we're using tradingview.com to look at the charts here. But I trade on a bunch of exchanges, Kraken and Coinbase and Maxi Exchange. So those are some places that that I trust, that have been around for a while, that I like trading on for cryptocurrency exchanges. All right, yeah, we're gonna look at Pixels now, and then we'll finish off by looking at Bitcoin. Which one do I want to look at? Take a look at one. I guess we'll look at Kraken maybe. Hey Dave, all right. Yep, I see Dave P's in the chat. Did we go over your request, Dave? I don't know if you actually did. You make a request? Yeah, you said Redstone. That's right. Yeah, we looked at Redstone. All right. All right, we're looking at Pixels, currently trading at 0.036 pennies. This is data coming from Kraken Exchange now. I'm just zooming out to see, what this thing has done. Looks like it had its better days back in December of 2024, like most other altcoins and cryptos did. Are you catching the bottom here at 0.03 pennies? Maybe. Looks like you bottom out. The lowest low for the year was April 7th at 2 pennies. Then you made a higher low here on June 23rd at 0.027 pennies. And then you made another higher low here on August 2nd at basically 3 pennies. So that's good to see that you're making higher lows here. Now the next thing we need to do is, can we make higher highs here? We got to get above the high here on July 21st. That should seem easy to do at like 4.5 pennies here. But ultimately I want to see us get above the highs here that we made here in May, when we got as high as like 0.065 pennies, okay? Do that, and then you can make the justification that we're in an uptrend and we're making higher lows and higher highs, and we're in a bull trend here. And then also, if you get above that 0.065 penny level, that should put you above the 200-day moving average, which is sitting at 0.059 pennies. And my opinion, if you guys been around and watching my live streams and gotten used to what my criteria is for being in the bull market, if you get above the 200-day moving average, you are in a bull market again. You can be bullishly biased towards your asset if you get above the 200-day moving average, and this thing is sitting at 0.059 pennies. So right now, I'm still bearish on this asset until it can prove to us that we can get above the 200-day moving average, and also start proving to us that you can get above the last highs here at 6.5 pennies. Okay. Get above that, and I think you'll start seeing more money pouring into the asset for Pixel here. Okay. But yeah, let's see if we come up with some price targets here for Pixel. We'll just do a Fibonacci from the 6.5 cent level down to the lows here at 2 pennies. And if this thing gets a normal retracement, right? If it can get back to the golden pocket level at 4 pennies, then and 5 pennies here, then yeah, I think you'll be fine. Okay, going forward here. Looks like I'll just be eyeballing that 5 penny level here, and then we want to see ourselves make our way up to higher prices to like get to the 786 retracement at 5.5 pennies, and then 6.5 pennies. And then once you start getting the momentum, the bullish momentum, the higher prices here, you got the 1272 that says this thing could get up to like almost 8 pennies at 0.078 pennies. And then you got the 1618, which probably should be your long-term take profit target for 2025. That's sitting at 0.094 pennies, about 9.5 pennies here. Okay. think 9.5 pennies should be your 2025 target for Pixel. And if you do that, that's almost like a 3x from where you are right now. And you should consider clicking the sell button and selling some Pixel at a profit here. John 316 saying, is alt season here? And yeah, I would say alt season is here, John. And you know, we're gonna have to go into Bitcoin dominance here. When will it be coming to an end? All right, alt season is here because on the Bitcoin dominance, which is trading at 60.4% right now, you're below the 200 moving average. As long as you're below the 200 moving average, you're in alt season. Okay, once Bitcoin dominance gets above that 200 moving average, which is sitting at right now at 62.84%, if we get above that 200 moving average, then I would say alt season is coming to an end, and that's when you should consider selling your altcoins and going back into Bitcoin, or you know, going into dollars or whatever you're gonna do. But yeah, I think alt season is definitely here based on Bitcoin dominance being below that 200 moving average, and we could continue dropping down in dominance. It looks like I have created this. I've seen this bear flag being created on the chart, and if the bear flag plays out, this yellow line says that we could see, you know, Bitcoin dominance, that blue number, go down to the 56.6%. So I would still stay in your altcoins right now because you're still in alt season here. And it might even get better because we might see alt season, we might see Bitcoin dominance go down to 56%, and then you'll definitely feel like you're in altcoin season at that point. But let's go back into Bitcoin. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing, because I think Bitcoin was catching some bids here. We did see Bitcoin go up to $119,000 earlier today, $119,117. I want to see Bitcoin get up to $120,000 because I feel like that's a psychological number that people feel very excited about to start putting more money to work in cryptocurrency world. I think that could happen later on this week, but we'll see. Okay, and then eventually I want to see Bitcoin get up to $123,200 and retest the all-time high that we made back here on July 14th. I want to see that number start to hit, and if we do, then we're now going to be talking about Bitcoin going up to that 1272 at $130,000 Bitcoin. And then maybe the 1618, $138,000 Bitcoin could be later on this month or going into September, especially if they lower interest rates for us. I would expect Bitcoin to be at $138,000 around that time. Now, if Bitcoin does decide to drop down on us to lower prices here, we do have the 50-day moving average sitting at $109,000, and that's like kind of like confluent with this 0.5 retracement. I think, you know, by the time Bitcoin comes down to the 50-day moving average, this 50-day moving average is also climbing up. It might meet up and match with that 110.7K number here, where we might get a bounce off that 0.5 retracement if Bitcoin does decide to go down to 110K. I think that might be a level where people decide, hey, you know what? Seems cheaper than 120. I'll get some Bitcoin at 110K. So that could also provide some support for us in the near future here for Bitcoin. But yeah, that's going to be it for this live stream, guys. Be on the lookout for my next live stream. I'm going to try to go live tomorrow, probably maybe around the same time. If I don't go live at like 12 to 2 p.m., you could probably catch me. I might go live later on that afternoon at like, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. But that's going to be it for this live stream. I appreciate you guys coming out. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. And check out some of my other videos on the TikTok channel here. You can find me on the Meet Damian TikTok channel and the Meet Damian YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel as well where you get all my content, my long form and short form content. And also you can find me Meet Damian on TikTok. Let's see if I can load this up if this thing's on actually. Yeah, and you can come join my 5,200 followers here, and you can see some of my TikTok videos here. Oh, look at that! Satoshi Nakamoto just started following me. That's awesome. Looks like I've earned the trust of Satoshi Nakamoto here. All right, guys. So, you can check out some of my other short form content here on TikTok. Okay. So yeah, if you guys have a thirst for knowledge, go ahead and check out some of my other videos here on Meet Damian And if you haven't already, hit that follow button so you can see me show up on your feed here for your live streams, where I try to go live like almost every afternoon here. Okay. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. We'll see how Bitcoin does going into tomorrow. And we'll just look at the altcoins once more. Take care, guys. And yep, Mario, I see you in the chat. You came a little bit late. Mario, if you really want me to look at TARS AI, I can look at it on my Discord. I have a Meet Damian Discord. Just send me a message, because I know you're on TikTok. Send me a message, and I'll be able to send you the link to join the TikTok. I'm sorry, to join the Discord here. Where you know, I can send you this link here, and we can go over the chart for TARS AI. You know, I had done that in the past here, where I've looked at you know, people make a request. If I could see, but I gotta really dig for this. But yeah, I'll take a screenshot of the asset, and I'll give you my opinion and a price target for you know, your asset here. Okay. But yeah, you can also find me on the Meet Damian Discord, which is a free Discord to join. Doesn't cost you anything. Alright guys, take care. I'll see you on the next live stream.